Welcome to the Ringerverse Roundtable. I'm Jomi, and joining me today in his unfortunately, Boston-themed sweatshirt is Arjuna Ramgopal.
It's a light jacket.
It's a light jacket? I don't know, man.
I should cover this up because,
You should.
It's been a tough opening day for the Boston Red Sox.
Sucks for your team. But we're not here to talk baseball. We're here to talk about Bad Batch, Season 2. Guys, want to be very clear. There will be spoilers. Not just for Bad Batch, but for all of Star Wars. If you haven't tapped in, be warned right now. This is your final warning. You will be spoiled, and there is pain on the way. So
Lots of pain.
Lots of pain. So be warned. It's your last chance. Arjuna,
We gotta talk. This is how we have to start.
we have to have a moment of silence for Tech.
For our guy. For Brown Eyes.
Oh, there's no other way to say it other than pain.
I saw you
In that
watch
moment.
the scene.
Oh my God.
I saw the pain in your eyes.
I just don't understand. Like why it had to be him? Why did he have to do it in the first place? I understand, sacrificing yourself for the greater good. Sure. That's what it's all about. Not him, man. Not Brown Eyes.
Who would you have picked?
Not to say I'm picking favorites. Maybe Wrecker. I don't know. Anybody but Tech, really. Outside of Hunter is probably my favorite of all the Bad Batchians, man. It's it hurt, man. It really did.
But you kind of saw it coming, right? This season in particular had a lot of standout Tech moments, standout Tech episodes. He was really heavily featured this season. There was a lot of development there. And I remember you and I talking about this off the jump in the first few episodes. We were like, it's a lot of Tech.
A lot of Tech.
Why do you do this, right? Especially for an animated show, you're like, why are we putting a lot of focus on this character, right? Something's gonna happen. They're gonna leave, or they're gonna leave, but in a more permanent way.
Yeah.
And that is what appears, at least, to have happened, because we always know the golden rule
of Star Wars,
especially with Star Wars. Did they die? Did you see them die?
Well,
right?
he tossed his goggles real crazy back to Hunter.
But is he trying to get in their head? Did he capture Tech, and is he now experimenting on him?
That is something I think is going to be interesting, because one of the things that the final episode showed us was they're going full on and on experimenting on these clones. What do you think they're trying to do there?
Well, I think we've seen some of that in The Mandalorian and within the sequel trilogy, right? We know that the Emperor at this time is trying to figure out cloning because he is trying to live forever and be immortal.
Yep.
And that is how we get the infamous somehow Palpatine
Don't
returns
even
line.
start. Why would you even say that?
But he does return.
He
He does return, right? That's the whole thing with Snoke, and that's the whole thing with trying to get the consciousness and the Force powers into these bodies, right? Yeah. And then it's not until Episode 9 with the Force dyad and Rey, and Kylo, that he's kind of able to do that, and then he dies again after all that. But what at least we're doing here within the Bad Batch, and we're seeing that in The Mandalorian too, with Grogu, with Dr. Pershing, and everything, that there is this contingent that is trying to figure this out for the Empire and push this type of stuff forward. So I think you're going to see more connection there, right? And this to me at least, I think a lot of Bad Batch, a lot of Star Wars fans have talked about, are we going to see a cute little animated Grogu at some point?
Oh my God! Don't even start. Don't even start, bro.
But let's look at Grogu's origins, right?
Yeah.
Dr. Pershing, Moff Gideon, and everyone are going after Grogu specifically, right? To further the remnants of the Empire, further this kind of, to further Palpatine's return. Yeah. In a lot of ways, and it seems like what they're trying to do is they're trying to use the genetic makeup of his, Force ability, force sensitivity, and get it into a cloned body, right? Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see, is there some crossover there? We don't know Grogu's entire history, right? From Order 66 to The Mandalorian, which is post Episode 6, right? Yeah. So there's a big time gap there. We know, at least through where we're currently at in The Mandalorian. Kelleran Beck is the one that saves him. We don't know exactly where they go off to, but there's a lot of connective tissue there, right? Dave Filoni oversees both of those shows, the Filoni-verse. So I think you're seeing like this kind of buildup with the Empire and the clonings and what's going to kind of happen.
It's kind of like poetry. It rhymes.
Symmetry.
Yeah, right. For me, I'm thinking Death Troopers.
I mean, that's a great.
My first thought was, oh man, this is how we get Darth Vader's whole squad, because with Clone Force 99 and Crosshair's his abilities, to survive and follow orders, like that would be something that I think was interesting to the Empire, and why when they got him, they're like, maybe we could do something different with these clones because they're so, like, and they mentioned the fun episode, so full of individuality and so bright, especially the ones that worked under the Jedi, right? And so I'm thinking that's where they could go, but like we saw at the end, they didn't end up. They just ended up with Crosshair and Omega, and Omega's not even. They don't even need Omega, right? She's just there to.
She's there for
Nala Se, right?
Yeah, so she's just there to basically say like, we're gonna hurt Omega if you don't do this because you care about her. She's bait.
Speaking of Omega, she's got a sister. An older sister.
She's got a grown-up sister. Now, you always know the rule of Star Wars, right? They have the same accent. They're somehow related, which is why everybody thought Rey, was related to Obi-Wan.
Because she was English?
Because she was English.
Oh,
and,
God.
apparently it was that up until very late
God.
in production for Episode 9. But that's a different story.
That is a very different story.
But yeah, that was kind of the tell when we met this character a few episodes ago, that was kind of going to be the big reveal. Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. We're finding out about all these secret clones that the Kaminoans had kind of going on and whatnot. But what do you think it means? Like, how do you think she's going to come into play here with, Omega? We did see her try to kind of help out Crosshair, in episode, I think it was episode 14.
Yeah, where she was like, "Brad, come do this, please. I'm begging you.
Yeah.
Chill out. We got this."
She's like, you just got to do this and this is going to happen. Mm-hmm. Maybe she's the salvation. Maybe she's the one that could save Omega and Crosshair.
So my immediate thought when she took the glasses off, it reminded me of Tech's goggles, and I was like, there you go. We just replaced Tech, ladies and gentlemen. We just did it.
Unless Tech is alive.
Tech is super dead. That
never
man,
saw him hit the ground.
He is paced on a whiteboard. He is pate on the ground. He's cooked. Okay? There we have it. We replaced Tech, guys. It's all good. It's all good. Don't worry about it. That was my first thought. She seems like she's not totally down with Hemlock's thing. Like, she's there, but when family gets involved, right? We saw the rest of Clone Force 99. We saw Echo. We saw Wrecker. We saw Hunter despondent. They were like, hey, no matter what, we're going to go. We're going to get our girl back. We're going to get Omega back.
It's all about family.
It's all about family.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Yeah. Right? And so when push comes to shove, when she has to make that call between her duty as a Republic scientist or her duty as a sister.
She's going to pick sister.
She's going to pick sister.
Yeah.
She's going to pick sister.
Do you think that there are more than, there's just the one adult Omega clone? Or do we think there's multiple, right? Like, obviously, she's had the sped up, kind of enhanced, clone aging that the other clones have had, while Omega and Boba Fett are the only two known clones that we know of at this time that kind of have the regular aging. Yeah. So, like, do we think there's more?
Well, I mean, as you said, as you know of at this time, before episode 16, we were like, Omega is the only female original clone, right? That was it. That's what they told us in the beginning. Now, there's two. There could be 2 million.
It's right? True. There could be a lot of clones.
There could be a lot of clones out there. We don't know for sure. All right. In episode 15, there was a big room of important people. Do you want to talk to the people about some of those important people in that room?
Jomi, I don't know if you've heard of this little movie called Rogue One.
Never saw it.
A Star Wars story.
Never seen it.
But it has this antagonist. His name is Director Krennic.
Wow.
He's got a cool white cape, And he's the guy.
I'm sure that movie has such a happy ending.
It does for everybody involved. But Director Krennic was in charge of the Death Star project in particular. And we see him here. This is him pre-Rogue One. He isn't director yet. He's Commander Krennic. And he is talking about Project Stardust. Which is...
what does that mean?
We know what that becomes. The Death Star.
Wow.
Yeah.
And just a crazy Easter egg to drop.
Amazing.
And amazing. If you blink, you miss it. But it's right there in front of you. One last thing, Arjuna, before we get out of here. Your thoughts on the entirety of season 2. It starts off, we're left with the ramifications of them, leaving Crosshair on Camino, the decimation of that entire plant. How did you enjoy this season of Bad Batch?
I really liked it. I think season 1 was good overall. Just like Clone Wars, I think it has the arcs where it's like you don't have to tap in as much. You don't have to maybe consume it at the same bit and rate as you do with the rest of Star Wars. It's a little bit more filler, if you will. I think this season, like any season, had a little bit of filler too, but I just thought that some of the stuff was just really, really well executed and really explored some of the interesting themes that you have between episodes 3 and 4 while really focusing on the clones, on the Bad Batch themselves. I thought the Crosshair episodes in particular were amazing. Episode 3 that has Crosshair with Commander Cody, I thought was such a standout. I thought the episode with Crosshair on the ice planet where he is with a smaller clone force and they're protecting cargo that just turns out to be the armor for the stormtroopers that are replacing them. Was that hurt my soul. That hurt.
Real pain.
And then there were the duds where you have fake pod racing with Darkseid. So
hey, remember Tech was instrumental.
He was. Man. And that was more character development, right? That's to show Tech, that's to kind of illustrate Sid is going to portray the Batch in the future. But I really liked it. And I think the thing I liked the most was this mirrored episode 5, especially the ending where they lose. Everything's down. They get betrayed by their friend Sid.
Also, right? Nobody saw that coming.
Right? Nobody
except
saw
everybody.
That coming. They lose. They don't end up saving their friend. They lose a member. They're on the absolute downs. They have somebody captured, Omega being the Han Solo in this version. And you have a family twist right at the end with Omega having a sister. I am your sister. So it was great. I'm hoping then season 3 will be like Return of the Jedi, and you have them all win out, and Tech's happy and alive. They're all happy and alive. They all live happily ever after. Because Star Wars is a happy story.
I'm sure Tech is just on the island, just like living his best
on Pablo
life.
right now.
Yeah, he just vibing, right? Now, I really loved this season. Of course, like the animation budget, man, where they started from Clone Wars to where they are now, it looks incredible. And even like the stuff that you mentioned as filler, I really enjoyed that because it brought a lot of character moments, especially for Tech, to where when he's hanging down, and I'm looking back, I'm like, man, not my boy, not my dog, so.
It's coming too. Like, as that scene is going, you're like, he's not making it.
It's hard. It's tough. It's tough. Tech, we love you. You're somewhere out there. You believe he's still alive.
I'm gonna say until the show ends, he's out there.
I think he's cooked, and we see the last of him. Right? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. I'm Jomi. That's Arjuna, and thank you for watching this episode of Ringerverse Roundtable.